Absolutely beautiful day here in London. What a spell of weather we are having. Hope it's good for you wherever you're listening all around the UK. It's going to go up to 27 degrees here in this part of the world later on. That's why Mr. Murphy is wearing a t-shirt, a fashionable t-shirt from the Murphy summer range this morning. Mr. Jordan is still going with the jacket at this stage.
Surprised at that.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
T-shirt.
And the t-shirt, yeah. But the jacket stays on.
Indeed.
I like that with the handkerchief in the top pocket. Just to give you a rough idea, if you're not watching on YouTube and Facebook, and many of you are, we're streaming live on those channels, on those platforms. Brendan Rodgers, it would seem, from what is being reported, Danny, all roads seem to be leading back to Celtic. Now, I said to you at the top of the show, does that surprise you? It surprises me because Brendan's been there and very much done it. So why would he want to go back?
Well, after we first spoke about it, thinking about it, I understand what a wonderful club Celtic is and how big it is and the worldwide support. I've not played there, so I've not been part of the club in any way, shape or form. So I can't really talk about what he must have felt and how happy and content he was being at that club because of the size of it, the support, the success he had. I don't know. But I can only think that by revisiting it, or thinking of revisiting it as a manager, is that some of those sentiment and feelings must be there of great memories and times that takes you back somewhere. Because if it was negative, you wouldn't, would you? You know, if you had bad memories and felt like there was discontent, or you wouldn't go back. So I'm not sure it can be anything to do with finance down on this one. I'm sure Celtic aren't going to be paying him what he was earning at Leicester. I'd be very surprised. So there must be a belief in him that he can do more at Celtic than he did before. Maybe
As in Europe.
Yeah.
I
find that a little bit naive from such an intelligent man because Celtic don't have the resources to be competitive in Europe. I thought what they did last year and putting on a gallant display in their home games mainly was about the best they're going to do. Whoever's in charge.
When it boils down to it, Danny, is this the best job that Brendan can get?
Well, I was just going to get to that. It's like as a player and a manager, sometimes, certainly as a player, you might want a fresh challenge. You're moving on from a club, but you can only choose an option that's on the table. You can't make them up. So if Leeds and Celtic are his only choice and he doesn't want to manage in the Championship, which I don't blame him for, because God knows what can happen in that league, whoever you are.
Yeah.
Probably Celtic's the better option.
Well, listen, Simon, if Steven Gerrard, and we'll get to him in a second, if he's getting tempted by a Saudi offer, you're bound to think at the moment, Rodgers has been offered Saudi.
I don't know, maybe. I mean, look, Brendan Rodgers is a different animal to Steven Gerrard, so it would be not appropriate to put them in the same bracket just because there may be offers from people that are desperately trying to build a league to have some substance in it and will take talent at whatever stage they're at and however inauspicious their management career has been, which is the case with Gerrard, albeit he won something with Rangers and we have to give him credit where credit's due. I can't make sense of Brendan Rodgers. In this decision going back to Celtic, not because I have any disregard for Celtic or devaluation of Celtic, but he left Celtic because he wanted to go back to the Premier League.
Yeah.
And I'm not suggesting you can't go back somewhere. More often than not, it doesn't tend to work, but there's always exceptions, and this may be it. But I can only assume that the offers that he's getting are outside of the Premier League, and so subsequently he doesn't want to take that step because if he doesn't make it work, he's then classified as a Championship manager that didn't make it work. And so by going to Celtic, he's still performing in an elite league that has European football. If he does okay in the Champions League and maybe drops into the Europa League and goes deep into that competition, then he gets some credibility and credence as a result of that. But it's a strange departure from the direction of travel I would have assumed Brendan Rodgers would have gone on. I retain and maintain my view that I don't think he covered himself in glory with Leicester. I think he is a huge part of the reasons why they got relegated.
He might be a part of the reason, of course, but over his period at Leicester, he was a success.
Fine, but we can go back over any manager's career that's been successful and point to when they were successful. We've got to look at what they've done most recently.
Yeah, but no,
you can't rely on what they've done previously.
Okay.
So my point is that in the current version of Brendan Rodgers, we can look back at Liverpool and say he stole defeat from the jaws of victory with a side that had Suarez, Sterling, and Sturridge up top.
Isn't it great how we spin on ours to suit our, to suit our own agenda? That's not true. The only reason Liverpool ended up in a title race because his tactical acumen changed the system halfway through the season when he was struggling, brought in Stern as a young kid as well.
And that's fine. But,
But
the resource that they had up top, most people would have felt that was an opportunity to have won the league. They didn't. The team deteriorated off the back of that. He ended up going out the door, and Klopp's built a team that was more reflective of what Liverpool were anticipating. He went to Scotland to rebuild. You know, this body of work that Brendan's done, from going to Reading to Watford, they weren't great successes. Swansea was an opportunity to build off the back of Martinez, and everything came to the way that it came. Now, Brendan's built a big reputation, being very well rewarded for it.
Yeah.
And the job that he did at Leicester irritates me because it was poor and he's gotten away with it. And he spent a year in the media spinning a narrative about diplomacy and never saying anything. And a football club has ultimately lost its place in the Premier League as a result of that. And off he sails. Now, going back to Celtic, to me, is a strange direction, because if we believe the media reports, there is a significant part of the Celtic fan base that really was very unhappy with the way that he departed.
Well, on that, Danny, I'm very keen this morning to hear from Celtic fans on that, because, Simon, I think you're right. Yeah. When he went, a lot of people, they changed like that.
Why was that, mainly?
When they left, because they were loving what he was doing. They were riding on a crest of a wave. I can see the wisdom of Lyle and Dermot Desmond getting him back, Danny. Because what do? You get somebody who knows the place upside down, back to front, and Celtic will continue the momentum under Brendan Rodgers.
But is there wisdom?
Because Rangers have got it all to do with Beale.
Is there wisdom in it, though, if what you say is true, is that a lot of Celtic fans don't want him there?
Let's find out. Ewan's a big Celtic fan who's listened to this intently. Ewan, good morning. Danny makes a very timely point. You guys are the important individuals in this equation. Do you want Brendan back?
More than guys, it's
Morning,
a question I've wrestled with a bit, Jim. If I'm honest, I was dead set against it when he was first sort of indexed with the job, and I've wrestled with it over the last week or so, and I actually think it would be potentially a good appointment again, depending on what version of Brendan Rodgers we get back. If we get a Brendan Rodgers that fancies doing a job, and he comes and he's motivated and he's got a plan, and he spoke to Dermot and the rest of the guys in the board.
And he will, Ewan, he will. He will. But Ewan, there's a but there significantly in your answer. There's a but, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, because Brendan Rodgers, to me, showed his true colours at Celtic and at Leicester, and it's Simon's pointed to it. It's when he doesn't fancy it and he doesn't get the answers or things that he maybe wants, he just looks to exit stage left as quickly and disruptively as possible sometimes.
I mean, Ewan, at this stage, mate, if I can simplify it, is it your belief that it's better the devil you know? If Celtic were to bring in a top European manager, sure, but maybe doesn't know Scotland, doesn't know the rivalry between you and Rangers, and doesn't get the fact that no matter what, you've got to beat Rangers, you would go for Brendan?
I can't give you a definitive answer on that, Jim. My mind's not made up on it. It's really not.
What would you suggest the masses of the Celtic fans are thinking about this? Because obviously we only have a snippet of you guys coming on and talking on different shows. What's the general feeling on the chat rooms, etc.?
I think it was initially that no, dead set against it, and now people are kind of coming up with excuses for him why he left the way he did and all this sort of stuff. And I think he's also the best on offer at the minute with the current squad that we've got. Ange built an incredible. So I loved Ange to bits. I'm sorry he's gone, but he has gone, so we need to move on. Yeah. But I think Brendan would get a tune out of these players, and a good tune at that.
There you go, Ewan. Good answer. Thank you so much for joining us, mate. Benny's another Celtic fan. 03717 223344. All the talk at the moment is that Rodgers, sooner than later, will head back to the east end of Glasgow. Benny, good morning. Would you want Brendan back?
Yes, and a heartbeat. For the reason being, yes, every single one of us was absolutely feeling when he left. The timing of him leaving. We have about 11 games to go on. Ready for another treble. We were all spewing. But looking at the current crop of managers who's potential to come in, the boy Angel for Man City, no. And what experience he got? Because he's been Pep's puppet. 6 months at Parma and sacked. No. Brendan's been there, done it. And also I think the reason it's taken so long is Brendan was not happy when he left as well, because he was done over to try to buy the boy McGinn, who ended up at Villa, over the sake of about 300,000. I think he's got Dermot Desmond right where he wants him and saying to him, I want X, Y, and Z worth of money. If you want me to take this job. And we have got a great squad there. I think we maybe need 3 players, goalkeeper, centre-half, centre-forward. That's if no one leaves. Then we move on. Yes, a lot of Celtic fans, when it first came out, says no. On the chats and all that, saying no. But who else is out there? Who else? I mean, some are shouting Scott Brown. I'm like, he's having a laugh. I love Scott Brown.
But not at the moment. I get it. Benny, thank you so much. I mean, Simon, for those who don't understand words like billing, we, somewhat annoyed that Brendan left the club at that time. Yeah, I kind of get it. Benny was stronger with where he wanted to go in his answer than Ewan was. But I kind of get it. They're not absolutely unified on it.
No.
But as it's Brendan, give it a shot.
I like the way they talk about a person that they don't know in terms of having no experience and a fluffer for someone else. And that same sentiment would have probably been deployed by certain sections of the fan base when Ange Postecoglou walked through the door.
Precisely.
And they all went, who's he? What's he about? What's he done? Where's
Same
he
with De Zerbi.
Yeah.
There are lots of good coaches out there.
Yeah.
You know.
So Celtic fans, if he comes back, do you welcome him back with open arms?
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.